Hey Chloe, so I thought I would make a little video here. I understand that you're confused about the annotated bibliography and especially the double entry. And these are like two really critical assignments as we move forward over the next few weeks leading into the research essay. So I'm in the chapter 3 unit here, and I'm looking at the double entry journal assignment. And it states that working with 5 sources you have found for your annotated bibliography, and ultimately it's going to be for your research essay also. I'm asking you to build a double entry journal described in pages 97 to 103 in A Curious Researcher. So you should take a look at the Curious Researcher and see what it says about the double entry journal. Ballinger does give a lot of good information about that form and how to handle that journal. So for each of the 5 sources, you need a minimum of 3 excerpts. Now the 3 excerpts for the 5 sources would be a quotes or a paraphrase. You know, if you have a summary of a portion of one of your sources that you're writing, I think I could use a decent summary instead of the 3 excerpts. But you want to add those to the left column of your document. And if you look at that example that I sent you, you will see how this writing, or I should say the words of others, are on the left side of your 2-column double entry journal. All right, and then the opposite side of that, you're supposed to add your corresponding summary in the right column. All right, so if we were to take a look at the example here, the way the double entry journal is figured is that you have your citation for your source. This is an MLA citation. If you've been exporting your citations from the databases, or if you've been collecting sources and you have to format your MLA citation, and we'll talk maybe a little bit about that on Wednesday. But what happens here in the example is that you have your MLA citation. Here is the quote that this particular student used about the Common Core. And this is their thinking here, right? This grabs my attention because it's very true. So what happens is it's a left-right, okay? Quote, thinking, paraphrase, thinking. All right, so here we have another quote. This student elected to do quotes, and this is her thinking about this. I find this very important. I say this because knowing that teachers have changed their ways of teaching, blah, blah, blah. And this is to get you looking at some specific quotes in your sources. No more so than that, it's getting you to understand how to go about responding, what's your thinking. So it's a left for the quote or paraphrase or summary, and then it's on the right hand side, it is for your thinking, as it says, right? So the idea here is you would do 3 entries, then we would have another MLA citation, moving on to the next source, and so forth and so on. Now, this student chose to write a decent amount in her thinking for this particular topic or for the quotes. As you see here, it's aligning and moving back and forth between the quote and then the thinking. Once again, you're into another MLA citation for, I believe this is the 3rd source. We're kind of working back and forth between a quote and thinking. This is, what do you think about this quote? How does it fit your argument? What is the relevance to your argument and how this is going to work? So what you have here is this continuous scroll of both the citation, right? Now also your thinking here, as far as the quote and the thinking. Now the whole idea behind this is if you format the citations are all set up to be used in not only the annotated bibliography, but they're also going to be used towards in the research paper. If you do some significant thinking here in the double entry, it's going to enable you to write the annotations that are required in the bibliography. Ultimately, all of this work here that you see, whether it's quote or thinking, ends up as forming the basis for your research essay. You're going to say, what do I think about this quote, or what do I think about this source? How do I want to integrate each and every source? What happens is then is you have the ability to have some thinking and writing done. Same thing for the annotated. So when you get to the research essay, because of all of this work you've done with the double entry and also the annotated bibliography, two different forms, two different functions, you have a significant amount of reading, quoting, thinking, okay, and writing done, so it should integrate really rather easily into your research essay. So this is the reasoning behind the double entry. Left is where you put your quotes or paraphrases if you want to paraphrase or summarize. Right is where you write your thinking on this. How is it relevant? How does it contribute to your argument? How does what you select contribute to the equal education factor for people suffering from cerebral palsy? So the idea here is for you to read and think. So as I scroll through the example, it should give you pretty much an idea of what it is that the assignment is about. Now, I understand this varies from topic to topic. You can, some people are going to write more about certain quotes or certain sources, some write a little bit less. But the idea here is for you to engage with the sources. That's what writing in the middle really is. So I hope this can help you and explain the purposes of the double entry. We'll work on this in lab on Friday. If you want to get a head start on this and start working on it, I know it sometimes can be a very difficult task, but the idea here is I mean, you know, by working and getting the citations together, you're set up to also start, you know, work and carry some of this over for the annotated that's due in another week. All right. One of these days I'll talk about the citation and how to quote sources and working with sources, the principles of citation. But this will give you an idea exactly, hopefully this video will give you an idea what the double entry journal might be and what the purpose of it serves in the research essay. All right, so after you watch this, just you know, send me another email and I'll try to clarify all of this Wednesday in class.